Meghan's secret procedures were supposed to make her look youthful and polished. Instead, those rare, unfiltered pictures that just surfaced have her looking like the before photo in her own skincare ad. It's giving Botox fatigue, not royal beauty. Meghan Markle thought Paris Fashion Week would be her great redemption arc, a moment to prove to the world that she was still relevant, still beautiful, and still the woman who could command the spotlight without even trying. But the second she arrived at the Balenciaga show, everything crumbled. Her new look wasn't dazzling, it was disturbing. The face that once photographed so effortlessly now looked tight, frozen, and almost unrecognizable. It all started with one leaked photo and then another. No filters, no retouching, just raw, unedited reality. And that was more than enough to set the entire internet on fire. The glossy perfection that Meghan had spent years curating collapsed in a matter of seconds when fans saw the truth behind the strategic lighting and the favorable angles. Her skin looked uneven, her jawline appeared too sharp, and her cheeks looked unnaturally hollow. The woman in those photos didn't look like a royal or a Hollywood star. She looked like someone desperately chasing youth and missing the mark by a mile. Gone was the effortless beauty that once made headlines, and in its place was a face sculpted by pressure, not by genetics. The leaked pictures didn't just expose flaws, they exposed an obsession, the kind that comes from someone who is terrified of fading away. For years, Meghan has controlled her image with surgical precision. Every social media post, every paparazzi shot, every public appearance. But no one can hide forever. Those unfiltered photos from Paris stripped her of her carefully constructed illusion, revealing the fragile insecurity hiding just underneath. Before we dive into the expert analysis and the history of Meghan's changing face, it would mean the world to us here at the Ruby Report if you would hit that like button and subscribe. The story of what's really happening behind the polished facade is one you won't want to miss. Now, let's get into it. Plastic surgeons from both sides of the Atlantic couldn't ignore what they were seeing in those photos. Meghan's face didn't just look refreshed, it looked completely re-engineered. The symmetry, the skin texture, and the altered proportions, everything screamed surgical intervention. In London, one top surgeon analyzed the images and did not hold back. He pointed out the lifted eyes, the tightened jawline, and the pulled neck, all subtle changes, but impossible to achieve through skincare or diet alone. Across the ocean, a prominent California cosmetic expert echoed the exact same view. Meghan's transformation wasn't natural, it was orchestrated. The refined nose, the elevated lip line, and the newly almond-shaped eyes all spoke of strategic procedures, not just healthy living. The experts even dissected the tiny details that most people would completely overlook. For instance, the position of her earlobe seemed slightly off, a telltale sign that is often linked to facelift incisions. The skin between her nose and her upper lip looked shorter and stiffer, which strongly suggests a lip lift. It was the kind of transformation that is built over months, maybe even years, through a series of precise and staged procedures. The evidence was hiding in plain sight all along, but those unfiltered Paris photos became her undoing. Every harsh flash and every candid shot revealed what years of careful editing had managed to conceal. Meghan had spent her entire career perfecting her image, but these experts exposed what she couldn't filter, a woman reconstructed by insecurity, chasing youth with a scalpel instead of with confidence. This wasn't some overnight transformation, it was a slow, deliberate reinvention that has been unfolding for years. Meghan Markle's face has always evolved in perfect sync with her ambition. Every new role, every career reinvention, came with a slightly new version of her. What the Paris photos revealed was just the latest stage in a pattern that has been hiding in plain sight. Looking back at early photos from her 20s, you can see a softer, rounder look, with fuller cheeks, a wider nose, and natural freckles that gave her a warm, relatable glow. But by the time she hit her stride with her fame on Suits, her features had sharpened. Her nose was visibly more refined, her chin was subtly contoured, and her teeth were blindingly white. It wasn't dramatic enough to raise eyebrows back then, but the difference was undeniable to anyone who was paying close attention. Hollywood insiders whispered about small procedures, A rhinoplasty here, a little filler there, all part of the slow and steady climb from a cable TV actress to a global style figure. And when Meghan stepped into royal life, the transformation continued. Gone was the Hollywood bombshell aesthetic, and in its place came the polished Duchess look, minimal, elegant, yet impossibly curated. Even her skin tone and texture evolved with her image. The freckles she once proudly flaunted in photo shoots quietly disappeared, replaced by airbrushed, poreless perfection. Each phase of her career demanded a new face, and Meghan delivered, reshaping herself like a brand relaunch every few years. Her beauty wasn't evolving naturally, it was being edited, sculpted, and marketed piece by piece. But something about Meghan's new face screams urgency, the kind of dramatic change that doesn't come from a place of confidence, but from a place of panic. After years of carefully crafted branding, her post-royal empire has started to collapse in slow motion. The Spotify podcast deal is gone. The Netflix buzz has faded. The glamorous projects that once made her a Hollywood darling have all turned into dead ends. Her name, once powerful enough to command global attention, has lost its shine. And when the world stops watching, Meghan doesn't sit quietly, she pivots. This latest physical transformation wasn't just about vanity, it was about survival. Reinvention has always been her weapon of choice. And this time, she aimed for the world of high fashion, the Paris runway, the exclusive designer crowd, the polished elite she has always wanted to belong to. But instead of a rebirth, it came off as desperation disguised as confidence. The new face, with its exaggerated sharpness and its too smooth skin, wasn't aspirational, it was uncomfortable to look at. People didn't see a fashion icon. They saw a woman fighting tooth and nail just to stay relevant. Behind the curtain, insiders say the fallout was emotional chaos. Meghan reportedly broke down when she saw the unfiltered Paris photos spreading like wildfire online. For someone whose image has always been her armor, seeing it crumble in real time was humiliating. She wanted to look flawless and in control, but what she saw was a stranger staring back, proof that the control she had built her entire empire on was gone. And for Meghan, losing control means losing everything. If there's one thing Meghan understands, it's timing, and her Paris Fashion Week debut wasn't random. She picked Balenciaga, a brand still crawling its way out of its own major scandal, for a very specific reason. In her mind, controversy equals attention. Aligning herself with a major fashion label, even a tainted one, could give her the industry buzz she so desperately craved. But the gamble blew up in her face. Instead of reclaiming her fashion throne, Meghan's Balenciaga moment became an online circus. That white, oversized wrap outfit, meant to scream avant-garde and high fashion, just came off as chaotic and absurd. It didn't flatter her new look, it exaggerated it. The harsh lighting of the event, the slicked-back hair, and the strained smile, it all looked manic, not chic. Social media had an absolute field day. Within hours, she was trending, but for all the wrong reasons. People compared her to everything from a paper towel roll to a runaway ghost. The memes were merciless, and every single frame from that night became more proof of how out of touch she has become. But the worst part is, the outfit wasn't even the real problem. It was her energy. It was the forced confidence, the hollow smirk, the desperate need to belong in a world that clearly doesn't want her anymore. Balenciaga didn't elevate Meghan, it exposed her. What she thought would be her high-fashion comeback turned into the most humiliating spectacle of her entire post-royal career. The irony of the situation was almost too much to take. After years of preaching about the need for privacy and condemning the British press for invading her space, Meghan Markle's Paris stunt turned that entire narrative into a joke. Her team's favorite media outlet even ran the laughable headline, "Meghan Markle quietly attends Balenciaga show." Quietly? There was nothing quiet about it. Every step of that trip was orchestrated, from the five-star hotel that was accidentally leaked online to her prime seat placement at the show. Everything screamed premeditated PR. The paparazzi didn't just show up by chance, they were tipped off. Multiple outlets were conveniently alerted, ensuring that Meghan's grand, low-key reemergence would dominate headlines within hours. For someone who built a brand on escaping the toxicity of fame, She looked awfully comfortable basking in it again. The stage spontaneity was completely transparent. This was a woman who once sued newspapers for intrusion, now turning her own life into a glossy public spectacle. It was hypocrisy at its finest. Meghan wasn't running from the spotlight, she was chasing it. The only difference now is that people have caught on. Even her most loyal supporters struggled to justify it, with many admitting that the privacy queen narrative had officially died in Paris. The truth is, Meghan's relationship with the media has never been about boundaries. It has always been about control. And once she lost that control, her entire facade began to crack. What she called privacy was always just a performance. The Paris photos didn't just expose surgical work, they revealed something deeper and more unsettling. Meghan's face told a story of excess, too much intervention, too fast. Her skin looked thin, her cheeks were sunken, and her jawline was unnaturally sharp. It wasn't the glow of rejuvenation, it was the telltale Ozempic look that has been haunting Hollywood's red carpets. The whispers started almost immediately. The rapid weight loss, the hollow features, and the strained tightness around her mouth, they all pointed to one thing: Ozempic, the supposed miracle drug that has turned into a celebrity addiction. When combined with recent surgeries, it created a catastrophic aesthetic effect. Instead of looking youthful, Meghan appeared fatigued and fragile, a woman collapsing under the weight of her own image. Her body had slimmed down dramatically, but her face paid the price. The softness that once made her seem approachable and warm was gone, replaced by harsh lines and lifeless expressions. Fans who once adored her natural glow now admitted she looked drained and unwell. The worst part is, she likely thought it was working. To Meghan, it was a transformation. To everyone else, it was a warning sign. She had crossed the fine line between refinement and obsession. What was supposed to be her dazzling comeback turned into a visual cautionary tale about what happens when your identity depends on perfection. You end up chasing it until it breaks you. Paris didn't just reveal her new face, it revealed her unraveling. Every new version of Meghan Markle tells the same story, a woman endlessly at war with herself. Every time her career falters or her reputation dips, she doesn't rebuild, she rebrands. When Suits ended, her face changed. When she entered the royal family, her look softened into Duchess chic. And now, with her Hollywood comeback collapsing, she's chasing youth again like it's her last lifeline. It's the same pattern every single time: pressure, criticism, reinvention. She doesn't confront her problems, she tries to edit them out. Experts have called it a cycle of image addiction, the constant need to perfect the reflection instead of the person behind it. Meghan doesn't want evolution, she wants erasure. Each new tweak erases a piece of who she was until nothing authentic remains. The tragedy is that none of it is working. You can tighten a jawline, but you can't tighten public opinion. You can lift your face, but you can't lift your reputation. Every cosmetic fix just makes her seem further removed from the relatable woman that people once rooted for. Meghan's obsession with perfection has turned her into a paradox. The more she tries to appear real, the more artificial she looks. Her reflection isn't a sign of confidence anymore. It's a desperate mirror of insecurity. She's sculpting herself into someone she thinks people will love, but in the process, she has lost the person people actually did. Beneath the designer gowns and the curated smiles lies something that no surgery can fix: an emptiness. Meghan Markle's life has become a performance, one role bleeding into another until even she seems unsure of who she's supposed to be. The actress, the duchess, the entrepreneur, the icon, each version is carefully sculpted. Each face is slightly different, but none of them feel real. The saddest part is that Meghan could have owned her story. She could have aged gracefully, embraced imperfection, and become the relatable woman people once adored. Instead, she chased an illusion of perfection and lost herself in the process. You can lift your face, reshape your eyes, and smooth every flaw, but you can't edit your soul. Meghan Markle's greatest tragedy isn't what she's done to her face. It's what she has done to her humanity.